Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, honorable speaker, special guest, and honorable panel speaker who are able to participate in this webinar after it's been a while since our last webinar online a few months ago. So I would like to welcome you all in this webinar. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Madhyasta Budi Pradana from the Capacity Building of OIC Youth Indonesia. I will become your MC for this tonight. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. I hope you all can enjoy our webinar session until the end of the session. And before we begin to our next session, I would like to invite all the participants so we can open this webinar by saying Basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So hopefully Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala can give rezeki to our webinar in tonight. Okay, we are now going to continue on to our next session, and I would like to give a child to all the participants to please heads up and stand up, because we are going to hear the Indonesian anthem, Indonesia Raya. I would like to give the floor for the committee to start the Indonesia Raya theme song. All the participants to please heads up and stand up, because we are going to hear the Indonesian anthem, Indonesia Raya. I would like to give the floor for the committee to start the Indonesia Raya theme song. All the participants to please heads up and stand up, because we are going to hear the Indonesian anthem, Indonesia Raya. I would like to give the floor for the committee to start the Indonesia Raya theme song. To please heads up and stand up, because we are going to hear the Indonesian anthem, Indonesia Raya. I would like to give the floor for the committee to start the Indonesia Raya theme song. Heads up and stand up, because we are going to hear the Indonesian anthem, Indonesia Raya. I would like to give the floor for the committee to start the Indonesia Raya theme song. Thank you for the committee for the Indonesian anthem. Before we continue on to our welcoming speech, I would like to say greetings for all the panelist speaker and all the special guests that are able to come here to our webinar. My deeply respect and for the honorable party guests able to come here to able to present in our webinar. So now I would like to give the floor to our President OIC Youth of Indonesia for delivering the welcoming speech for the webinar this night. I give the floor to Mr. Shafi Effendi, the President of OIC Indonesia. Time is yours, sir. Mr. Shafi, are you with us, sir?
Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Salah pencet.
It's okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you, moderator. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillah wa syukurillah. Special thanks for all of the senior of OIC Youth Indonesia, Mr. Esa Sukmawijaya, Mr. Tantan Taufik Lubis, my senior, and then my brother, Dr. Hayu Prabowo, and then all of participants, thank you. Okay, in my session, I will share in this webinar about OIC Youth Indonesia program. In fact, Islam has produced many successful young figures since the time of the Prophet Nabi Muhammad SAW. Example, Usman bin Zaid, 18 years old, leading an army whose members were friendly dignitaries like Abu Bakar and Umar to face the biggest and strongest troops at the time. And the second, Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas, 17 years old. And then Al-Arqam bin Abil Arqam, 16 years old. And then Zubair bin Awam, 15 years old. And then Zaid bin Sabit, 13 years old. And then Talha bin Ubaidullah, 16 years old. And then Muhammad Al-Fatih in Turkey, 22 years old, conquering Constantinople, the capital of Byzantium, at a time when the great generals were disparate. So from the example above, it is very clear that young people must be stronger, taller, faster, because at a young age we are given a gift from Allah in the form of stronger energy. OIC Youth Indonesia is very concerned about the position of youth in its contribution to civilization. We divide it into 5 main functions. Number 1, leadership and social functions. Number 2, entrepreneurial function. Number 3, political and state function. And then number 4, educational function. In the end, the youth is the one who will hasten the disconnection of the old rigid and false order. So youth must be critical, youth must be brave, youth must fight back, youth must be hope, and youth must be the gift of the solution. Thank you for the opportunity given to me, and then may Allah bless our struggle to protect our religion. And thanks for all participants. Welcome to the open discussion tonight. And I hope we will meet offline session Yeah, thank you for my senior. Thank you my brother and my all of OIC Youth family. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you to our beloved President OIC of Indonesia, Mr. Shafi Effendi, for delivering his first welcoming speech to our webinar. Hopefully, his speech will give us more inspire, searching more knowledge and more spirit, especially during this pandemic. We never give up hope and never give our dream. Now we are going to continue on to our next welcoming speech. I would like to give the floor to our senior, our beloved Mr. Mr. Tan Taufik Lubis, the Vice President of Asian Group of ICYF and also the Chair of Advisory Board of ICUT Indonesia. For Mr. Tan Taufik Lubis, I will give you the floor, sir.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Mr. Moderator, you can hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
ونعوذ بالله
Okay.
من سيئات أعمالنا من يهده فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا في أول مرة نشكر شكر جل شأنه الذي قد أعطانا نعمة وهداية وتوفيقا حتى نستطيع أن نجتمع ونتمكن في هذا القاعة الشريفة إن شاء الله. وثانيا الصلاة والسلام على نبي الكريم الذي قد حملنا من الدنيا. وثالثا, I would like to take this opportunity to thank to the committee who already provided this opportunity in the commemoration of OIC Youth Day, 3 September 2020, especially to the President, Secretary General of OIC Indonesia, and the team, also moderator, who already preparing this program tonight of webinar. And I don't forget also to thank to my brother, His Excellency, the President of ICYF, Toha Aihan Bey, not only for attending this Zoom meeting tonight, but also for his passion, for his dedicated in developing Muslim Ummah around the world, inshallah. And also, I would like to thank to my senior, Mr. Esa Sukma Widaya, the Head Planning of Ministry of Youth and Sports, who always accompany us, the young people of Indonesia, of the Republic Indonesia, in every program. Alhamdulillah, his time is always ready for us. And Alhamdulillah, tonight he's also with all of us here to give the welcoming remark in this webinar. And also, I would like to thank to all the speakers who already attended this webinar. There is my brother, Kiai Ryan from Rumah Zakat, and also Mr. Jakiyadin from PDRI, Persatuan Dosen Republik Indonesia, and another speaker that I couldn't mention one by one. I say thanks again for your attending in this opportunity. My brother, sister around the world, today is OIC Youth Day. In every 3rd September of every year, mark the OIC Youth Day, where we across all the OIC member states, including Indonesia, celebrate this with various activity and achievement that we accomplished throughout the past year with your help and participation, especially in Indonesia, in Jakarta. OIC Youth and National Youth Council made it with so many activity, and including this webinar is one of apart from the OIC Youth Day commemoration. And as we know, for this year, ICYF headquarters made it the OIC Youth Day with even more special by announcing Youth Day video celebration and video collection to make it more special, because now more people can join the celebration through the online and also through the Facebook, through the social media, and billion young generation around the world is already watching the OIC Youth Day uh, in 3rd September 2020 from uh, Bundaran Hi Hotel Indonesia. I would like to confide that we have to deliver our message of OIC Youth Day. We have to use this opportunity to make the young people around the world unity in one stance. As we know, last week we have the great issue about the Palestinian, about the Palestina, that we have to strengthen our statement in OIC Day should make for us to stand in one statement and a strong statement to condemn the political issue in Middle East, especially released by the UAE, and the American President Donald Trump. So, in this point, I would like to strengthen to attain my point that why should they should be or must for us to use to strengthen the cooperation among the young generation around the world to stand and to support the freedom of Palestine. I think that is my welcoming remarks from Indonesian National Youth Council. I really support this program because it is the good occasion for us to share our institution, our program to all the young people in OIC member countries and also to all the young generation in the world, inshallah. Wabillahi taufiq ila aqwa mitarik, wallahu muwafiq ila sabilil haq. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thanks again and happy OIC Day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for Mr. Tan Taufik Lubis, the Vice President of ICYF Asian Group, and for his delivering on the second welcoming speech. Hopefully, his speech will inspire all of us to always keep strong, keep critical, especially during many issues that will question our own stand. Hopefully, we can still more united than before for the greater of Ummah. Now, next, I would like to give the floor to our senior, also from the Ministry of Youth and Sport, for giving the welcoming speech. For Pa Esa Sukmawijaya, I will give you the floor, sir. Time is yours, sir.
Thank you so much, Dias, as MC for this kind of event. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, sir.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Allahumma shalli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ali Sayyidina Muhammad. Dear brothers and sisters, Alhamdulillah, it is good opportunity we can meet among others as is usual. Why? Because for several times I'm by myself as a representative of Ministry of Youth and Sports Republic of Indonesia as a good opportunity to be here to deliver our welcoming speech or welcoming remarks. Before I continue my remarks, I'd like to say hello, assalamualaikum for all of you, especially for dear Dr. Hayu Prabowo. Pak Hayu Prabowo, apa kabar Bapak? From Indonesian Muslim Council, from Majelis Ulama Indonesia, and also from a young brother and sister from all over the world. If I don't mistake, I can see here from the screen from some of countries, from ICYF as well, and Mr. Tantan Taufik Lubis, the senior of ICYF Indonesia, also from National Youth Council. Um, oh yes, the gentleman, the handsome man, the president of ICYF Indonesia. Apa kabar, Abang? Bang Syafi'i. Is it everything okay? Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. I can see here also from ICYF Forum, maybe my brother from Turkey. Yeah, my mistake. Assalamualaikum. Why your brother? Alhamdulillah. Hopefully one day we can meet again in Azerbaijan, in Turkey, in Malaysia, and also of course in Jakarta, inshallah. The last but not least, of course, the participant of this webinar. As we are aware that this webinar has established because we have the same spirit to commemorate what we call OIC Youth Day. To the best of my knowledge, UN itself, United Nations, has what they call uh, International Youth Day. But here, because we have the same spirit based on the Muslim, we have also the same meaning. We have also the same spirit, what we call, as Mr. Tanta mentioned before, OIC Youth Day. What actually is Youth Day? This is to commemorate that we are the young people, including myself. Okay, sorry, just kidding. We have to aware with the spirit of youth. In this line, also ICYA has a good what was the statement also, what we call OIC youth strategy. In one perspective, we have OIC Youth Day. At the 3rd September, we celebrate this event, the 3rd September, every year, each year. But at the same time also, we have a strategy, OIC strategy. This is in line, I think. As a representative of the government, especially from Ministry of Youth and Sport, we salute, we should respect of this kind of event and also this kind of the what was that webinar. Right now, I'm in Palembang, the capital city of South Sumatra province, in Palembang. Several years ago, Indonesia has established Islamic Solidarity Games several years ago. Why I come here to Palembang, to the capital city of South Sumatra province? Because I'm on duty, but because of I love you all, I respect of the spirit of the OIC in this context, I should be attend this kind of the meeting to deliver our welcoming speech. The last but not least, also I'd like to also to say congratulate, happy OIC Day. Why I'm so happy? Because this is not just to celebrate about OIC Day, but as I mentioned before, this also in line with our spirit to push to implement the OIC strategy. not just talking about how about the perspective of education, about the health, about environment, about your participation in something like that, but also we as a Muslim Ummah in the world, especially for young people, for youth in Indonesia, in Malaysia, and Turkey and Azerbaijan, in Africa, in 58 Muslim countries, we should have the same spirit to say that yes, Allah is our God. To say yes for Al-Quran is our guidance. Believe it or not, if we say Allah is my God, Al-Quran is my guidance, and Rasulullah is Prophet Muhammad, inshallah, we can manage everything in the world under Allah guidance, inshallah. Okay, I think that's all my welcoming speech. Again, happy OIC Youth Day, and keep in touch in order to implement OIC strategy in line with our spirit every year to commemorate, to celebrate OIC Youth Day. Thank you so much. Inshallah, Allah will guide us every time, at any time, and everywhere. Thank you so much, and we are sorry for any mistake during my welcoming speech. Thank you again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Welcome salam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for Pak Esa, from the Ministry of Youth and Sport of Indonesia, for delivering his welcoming speech. Hopefully, his speech will inspire all of us to become more spirit to keep enhance ourselves, and furthermore how to achieve our goal in the future, especially for the OIC Youth Day. Thank you very much, Pak Esa. And now, for the last welcoming speech, we have a very honorable guest. I want to say first, I am very honored to give my greetings and also my deeply respect to the president of ICYF from Turkey, to Mr. Taha Ayhan, for delivering the welcoming speech to all of us. To Mr. Taha Ayhan from Turkey, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, dear brother. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear Excellencies, dear Excellency Seyfi Effendi, my brother and the President of the OIC Youth Indonesia, my brother, dear Excellency Tantan Tevfik Luiz Bey, the Chairman of Indonesian National Youth Council, dear Excellency, and our big brother and guide on many level in Indonesia, Mr. Esa Suma Vijaya, from the Ministry of Youth and Sports of Indonesia, Her Excellency Mr. Asrid Nadia, the Secretary General of the OIC Youth Indonesia, Mr. Ahmed Zakiyuddin Bey, Miss Amelia Suri Hanım, Mr. Rayan Asa Luminaries, Dr. Hayu Prabova, and dear distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Welcome salam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, sir.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to start my statement to this valuable gathering by congratulating you on the occasion of the OIC Youth Day. A happy OIC Youth Day for everyone. I'm most pleased and honored to be here with you all in this valuable gathering, celebrating together the richness of our ummah, which is the youth, those who seek to find solutions and play a role in the betterment and well-being of our states and societies, those who work in the present to shape the future with their knowledge, experience, and determination to change for the better. I extend my warm welcome to you all for being with us today, and I highly appreciate the efforts of our partners for making this event happen. And I want to underline the importance of the OIC Youth Day, and I want to highlight, I want to emphasize why we have OIC Youth Day. As we all know, OIC, composed of 56 countries, and these 56 countries is now hosting more than 1.6 billion people, and almost 700 million of these 1.6 billion people are under 35 years old. So this young generation is now building this current time, present time, and also will be the actors for the future. But these 700 million young people are also the most vulnerable, most in danger in part of our population. So for underlining, for emphasizing, for highlighting the importance of our youth as a treasure of us, we have OIC Youth Day from the 2017 as a result of the CFM resolution, which has held in Cote d'Ivoire as the 44th Council of Foreign Ministers of OIC. This date, the 3rd of September, has been selected because it's also the date that our ICYF, Islamic Cooperation Youth Forum, the only youth organization within the framework of the OIC, has been founded as well. So this is a landmark date for ICYF, for the OIC geography, and for the OIC as well. And from the 2017, as ICYF, we are working with enormous efforts to promote OIC Youth Day, OIC Youth Strategy, and the importance of youth in the OIC geography and beyond in the eyes of the whole world, and firstly in the policymakers of the OIC member states. As youth institutions, our role today is to reconstruct good image on youth by promoting their positive role in all economic, social, cultural, and political processes. Our policies and projects have to address this aim and acknowledge young people's positive roles in society, emphasize on how their involvement in decision-making, in policy-making is decisive for the development of sustainable solutions for diverse security, social, and economical challenges. The ICYF is therefore committed to providing opportunity for youth to ensure that they are not only the leaders of tomorrow, but also hope lights of today. They're not only the builders of future, but they're also the holder of today. Whether it's ensuring men and women have equal access to education, improving abilities to strengthen youth leadership in civil society, business and academia, or providing a young entrepreneur with the capital and network to grow a startup. The ICYF understands such projects and activities as investing in potential of the young people within the needs of OIC member states towards their young people as underlined in the adopted youth strategy. As we all remember, the OIC youth strategy has been adopted in the 4th Islamic Conference of Youth and Sports Ministers, which was held in Baku in 2018. Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear sisters and brothers, the OIC Youth Day is a valuable opportunity to meet young people, to listen to them about their concerns, and to create substantial coherence for paving the way for the betterment of future. As ICYF, we perceive the OIC Youth Day as an important platform that offers youth to express their ideas at global level, as well as it's a channel for communication between leaders and youth. Therefore, we are here to work together to create different mechanisms and tools to bring visions and ideas closer between decision makers and youth, because your voice is in our top priorities. Our gathering today is to ensure that young people are the pulsing heart of our societies and nations, the development of our countries and societies, and as a result of this, our ummah always begins with the well-educated young people. Today's youth represent not only the majority of our societies, but also they are the main driver of development and nation-building processes. In this context, ICYF as an OIC-affiliated institution will continue to do its best in implementing programs and activities related to education and training like model OIC clubs, or to entrepreneurship like Young Business Hub or investment summits. or to academia like International Muslim Intellectual Forums or uh, Islamic Intellectual Heritage, or to culture like Islamic Intellectual Heritage, or to leadership like Young Leaders Summit. Through these programs, we are upholding the profile of youth in this important process, advocating their interests and implementing programs and activities to develop their capacities and skills through initiatives based on the new understanding. And by putting young people at the center of the design and the implementation of programs that address the factors of most consequences to them. We are proud to work with youth around the OIC geography to better understand their needs and aspirations and what strategies and projects can be developed to enhance their capabilities for driving effective and positive policies in the OIC member states and communities. Dear sisters and brothers, dear colleagues, it is necessary that we start acknowledging youth as an important partner in the sustainable development of countries and societies. As international organizations, we are responsible about this mission. Before I conclude, allow me to assure you that ICYF is ready to continue working with concerned authorities in OIC countries towards the betterment of youth and implementing joint programs for readying young minds towards consolidating position of the OIC youth as a constructive partner in developing a culture of tolerance, a sustainable development, and a social cohesion in their countries and in the world. I pray Allah Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us success in our new terms programs and projects which aim serving the youth of the Ummah effectively. I wish to meet you again in other programs of ICYF. Our prayers, our ideas, our opinions, and our all emotions are with the brothers and sisters who has been affected by the concurrent crisis all around the world, especially in Lebanon, in Palestine, in Rohingya. I pray to Allah Almighty to ease our burden on our shoulders. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And happy OIC Youth Day again. Assalam.
Thank you. Welcome salam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Ta Ayhan, the president of OIC Youth Forum from Turkey. We are very grateful and honored for Mr. Taha that can able to participate, giving welcoming speech in this webinar. We're very grateful and thankful, and hopefully his speech will give us great motivation about the importance of OIC Youth Day, how that Muslim youth across the world can work together to face any challenges in front of us. Once again, my great respect, my great it is honor to greet you, Mr. Taha. Thank you again for joining us in this webinar.
Pleasure.
And yeah, thank you, sir. We go into our next the main session of the webinar, which is the panel session, will be delivered by various experts on our panel session. This will give us plentiful insight with various themes like entrepreneurship, environment, and all youth and of course youth employment and etc. Because we have eight uh, many topic in the wise youth strategy. So I would like to give the floor to the moderator of the panel session, to the secretary, the deputy secretary general, to Damar Crystal. He will be your moderator for the next panelist session. I would like to remind for all the participants, please follow the instruction of the moderator so that our panel session can be go smoothly and also productive, so that if there is some question answer can be done productively. Thank you very much. I would like now to give the floor to the Damar Crystal, our moderator for the panel session today. Time is yours, Damar. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Madesta Budi. Uh, Let me introduce myself. My name is Dama Kristal. I am from Foreign Affairs Department of OIC Youth Indonesia, and I'll be your moderator for the webinar. So we're moving to the next agenda, which is a panel session. For total, we have 5 speakers, which is expert in their field. We have Dr. Zakiuddin as chairman of Indonesia Lecture Community, and then Ms. Amalia Suri as program manager of Emancipate Indonesia. And then we have Mr. Ryan Asaluminaries as chairman of Laz Al Azhar in Islamic Sustainable Finance. And last, we have Dr. Prabowo Hayu Prabowo as chairman of Institute for the Environment and Natural Resources of the Majelis Ulama Indonesia. The first panelist will be delivered by Ms. Amalia Suri from Program Manager of Emancipate Indonesia. She is expert at youth employment. Without further waiting, Ms. Amalia Suri, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Klister. Okay. Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Amalia Suri. I'm Program Director of Emancipate Indonesia. We are a youth organization focusing on modern slavery, also workers' welfare, and fair trade and other things. I already sent my presentation to Budi. Can you show my presentation, please? Thank you. Okay. In this opportunity, first of all, I would like to wish you all a happy OIC Youth Day to all of us, and also my honorable to Mr. Taha, Pak Esa, Pak Ahmad, and other honorable guests. And also would like to thank the committee for inviting Emancipate Indonesia to this event. In this opportunity, I would like to talk about decent work and youth employment, especially the importance of work-life balance and the importance of unionizing for us young people. Next slide, please. Okay. So research found that young employees are more dissatisfied with their work-life balance than older employees. And in Sweden, the number of young workers diagnosed with chronic stress-related illness due to burnout from work has risen rapidly. It has increased by 144% for young workers between the age of 25 to 21 years old since 2013. Next. Especially during this period of time, during the pandemic, I think it is more difficult for us young people, not only us young people, but also other workers, but especially us. And the workers right now divided into two. I would like to divide it like that. Like the first group is those who can work from home, can do remote works, office job, etc. And the other groups are the ones who cannot work from home, the essential workers, health workers, and others. Next, also during this pandemic, there are vulnerable groups such as the unemployment people, informal or domestic workers, essential workers, freelancer, gig economic partners, service industry workers, manufacturing industry workers, small-scale businesses, sexual and religious minorities, people with disability, indigenous people, also women workers. These are groups that are more vulnerable, especially right now during the pandemic. Next slide. Next, please. Here are some statistics about Indonesian condition before COVID-19. So there are 136.18 million people, 18 million Indonesian who are in the workforce. And in this number, 83% are unemployed. And there are 50.62 million who are full-time workers, and there are freelancer. But then, next slide, during COVID-19, the number, of course, decreased. The new unemployment or formal workers rise to 749,000. Also, there are so many people applying for the pre-employment card, more than 10 million applicants. But then only 680,000 people accepted to the employment card, and there are 70 million people, informal workers, at risk of not working anymore. And also there are 100,000 migrant workers returning home and lost their job because of the pandemic. Next slide, please. But this is not only worse for us in Indonesia, but also in the world, actually. Like projected economic growth, it has reached to -3%, and unemployment people rise to 190 million people, and there are more than 436 million business at risk because of the pandemic. Next. Next, I would like to talk about the labor issues here in Indonesia. First of all, I would like to divide it again into the government version of the issue versus the union version. For the government version, there are rigid employment ecosystem, skill development ecosystem, and innovation ecosystem. Pak Dakari, the Minister of Workers for the last term, said that our employment ecosystem is so rigid that it didn't bring it's hard for the investor to come and do business here because of the rigid employment system. And he said that we workers need to adapt to the new employment ecosystem that are now are very fast. We move very
Amalia?
fast. Yes.
Sorry for interrupting, but can you speak louder or make your mic?
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Is it better?
Yeah, it's better. It's better.
Okay, okay, thank you. Sorry. Wait, I'm gonna just put it here. And then for the labor union version, right now there's omnibus law that the legislative discussing, and also the increase in BPJS employment contribution, and also there are layoff phenomena due to mechanization. Next slide, please. And then I would like to talk a little bit about labor issues, our version, emancipate version. This is the one that we focus through last year and this year's also. The first one, there are omnibus law. This includes workers' welfare, also workers during pandemic, especially the health workers, and also young workers like us, especially in their work-life balance and also child labor. Next. We believe that we young people has to be more aware of what's happening in our country, what the government right now has like talk about, especially the bill that it will probably affecting us young people. And right now, omnibus law is something that many people discussing. I would say in the union, many people are rejecting this bill because it has a lot of problem right now. Maybe it is good to bring more investor and probably create more jobs, but there are workers at risk of losing their welfare. This these are a list of problems among others in omnibus law, especially in Cipta Kerja bill. So there will be no more minimum wage provision in district and cities. And then uncertain severance pay rules. It makes outsourcing system easier. If you guys follow the news, there are outsourcing is pretty tricky, and I don't know. It gives like it makes easier uh, for the brand to not be responsible for the workers. Like for example, I don't know if you heard, there's this brand of ice cream that are very cheap, very sweet, and also become a sponsor for Asian Games last year. Last year in 2017, this brand already has problem with their workers, with not paying their workers well. But right now, there are another problem with their outsourcing system. They took the workers through outsourcing agency, but the workers didn't get treated. They get treated very badly. Like they live in one house with one bathroom with 40 of them inside the house. But the brand, the ice cream brand, can just say like they're not working for us, they're working for this outsourcing agency. So to make this outsourcing system easier, it will be uh, dangerous for workers. And also with omnibus law, the outsourcing not only for skilled workers but also uh, they widen the outsourcing system to more work. Also, criminal sanction for companies that violate rules are abolished now. And then there are exploitative working hours. We could work 6 days a week instead of 5. Um, and then the contract employees will find it very difficult to become permanent employees, and therefore we won't get tunjangan, we won't get uh, other benefit like health insurance and such, because we are not a permanent employees. And the company will be easily to terminate the work relationship uh, with their employees, because now they don't have to go through the pengadilan. They don't have to go to the judge to do that. They can just, because it's now between the um, employer and the employee. Okay, next. And then about the work-life balance of young workers. Okay, this is a little quote. Achieving satisfying experience in all life domains, and to do so requires personal resources such as energy, time, commitment to be well distributed across domains. And this means is that we have to make our work life and also personal life balance in order to be more happy, to be more productive. That's why our 24/7 is divided into, ideally provided into 8 hours of working, 8 hours of rest, and 8 hours of recreation. Next slide. Emancipate Indonesia, we conducted a survey last year about young workers' work-life balance in Indonesia. There are maybe 200-ish people participating, and majority is in Jakarta. 55% of them are female. That's why we think it's very important to include all gender in the discussion of labor, and not only labor but also other discussion. Um, I mean, this is probably could you could use it for a future event. Maybe like it is very important to also maybe include more women in the panel next year, so that we can have, I don't know, more representative. Um, and our participant, their age is between the age of 18 to 30, but the majority is 21 to 25 years old. Next. Here we ask also what their job sectors are, and most of them working in the private sector, about 52%, but also freelance 7.5%, and the government also, many of them work there, about 12.30%, and non-profit about 5.3%. Next. What we found when we asked, do they have their work-life balance right now? And majority of the young people in Indonesia said no. 53% of them said no, they didn't have their work-life balance. And 21% said maybe. So this could be yes, but also could be no. Only 21% certain that their work life and personal life are balanced. This is a very small amount of number, and no wonder in the beginning there are many young people are sick due to burnout from work. Next. This is the type of work burden that young people are facing right now. The majority of them said low or inefficient salary, and lack of social security like health insurance, food or transport, excessive, oh, this is important, overly flexible working hours. Flexible working hours, sometimes it could be good for us because we can decide when we're going to work or not work. But right now, especially maybe during the pandemic when we work from home, flexible could be double-edged sword, where it can benefit us but also become our enemy. Like we could work for 24 hours or more, um, because it's flexible. Our boss could be like, hey, can you do this? You're home anyway, you don't go anywhere, so can you do this? And that's obviously not good for our health, like when do we get to rest and such. um, and then also another point is difficulty to express opinion or join union or to speak up, and uncomfortable or stressing working environment. um, this is also very important because as young people sometimes work in the environment that are not very egalitarian, like there are a hierarchy in the work field that we young people sometimes are underestimated with our senior maybe. um, and yeah, this is the type of burden that us young people facing sometimes. um, Next. When we ask what's the important issue that we need to be resolved, the same like the previous problem, the majority of people answer is their low salary. And then about the lack of social security like health insurance, food and transport, also excessive workloads, and overly flexible working hours. Next slide, please. Hello. Okay. We also asked their satisfaction with the government labor policy. 52% of them said no, they're not satisfied with it, and 38 said maybe. Only 8% said yes, they're sure, they are satisfied. this maybe could become from their they didn't know what the regulation is right now, because I have many friends who didn't know that we have we can not go to work if we have menstruation in the first or second day, but they didn't know that because they didn't read the law. And yeah, uh, this number is before the government about to revise the labor policy. And now there's omnibus law. I don't know if we ask them again, maybe the number will increase um, to saying not satisfied with the government policy. But yeah, we just wish that the government could listen to us more sometimes. Next. Okay. Indecent work condition has affected young workers' work-life balance. More than individual issues, this is about structural issues where social security and labor law are not doing enough to ensure that our fundamental rights are met, the young workers. As a spillover effect, the lack of decent working condition and work-life balance among young workers, especially vulnerable groups, will affect their mental health and well-being. This is also another problem. Also with the SDGs, number 8, especially the decent work and economic growth, our government always, not only our government, but many of us in power, but also maybe us, even we are not in power. When we talk about the economy, we often talk about lack of job field or about economic growth, but we forgot to provide it with the decent work. Like we just want to have more work field, but the work field is not decent. Um, the working condition is probably bad. The pay is very low. The workers didn't get any health insurance. They didn't get any tunjangan. They didn't even get any safety measure in their workplace or something. But we just close our eyes to that and said, oh, just bersyukur, just be grateful, at least you can go to work. And that is the problem, because we in Emancipate believe that if we provide working fields that are decent, the economic growth will follow naturally with us. But if we focus on the economic growth only, the workers in this field that is not decent will not be it's not going to be good for their well-being. They will not get their welfare will not get any better. Only the 1% getting richer, and the working class just living their life day to day just like that. Next, please. So what do us young workers need during and after COVID-19? First one is decent wage or salary, and then realistic work burden, um, and decent working hours. If we work overtime, we get paid, and beneficial flexibility. Why is it beneficial flexibility? Because like I said earlier, sometimes flexibility can do us no good, because it could only make us work even longer hour due to flexibility. It's like the romanticization of flexibility. Also ensure social security like healthcare, food and transport. Also right to unionize and speak up, decent work environment, and clear and stable work contract. This is another problem, clear and stable work contract, especially if someday the omnibus law pass. It will be very hard for the contract employee to be a permanent employee in the uh, in one office. Like before the perusahaan, I forgot what it's called. Some, they can only continue their contract up to 2 years, I think, but in omnibus law they can do it like as long as they want to. Like this person can be their contract employee up to life because of that, and that is not something that we young people want to, because we won't have any stability in that. Next. I think this is the last slide for me. Okay. I think that's all. Just to, I don't know, to begin the discussion, maybe if you have any question for me, or we could just talk, like we young people has to unionize. We have to be solid with each other. We as working people has to work together to ensure that we all has the decent work. We get to rest, we get to work, we get paid for what we do, and especially right now in the pandemic, I don't know if you experience it in your office, but sometimes us young people get to be the apa what is it called? Yang dikorbankan gitu. I'm sorry for our international participant. Like for example, during the pandemic, like it's not safe to go outside, and then our senior in the office would just say, you should go because you're young. You don't live in your house. You don't live with your family. You don't have your family with you. Yeah, we get to be sacrifice because we're young, because we don't have family. But I don't know, sometimes they forgot we want to be safe too. We want to live and such. So yeah, maybe that's all. If you want to keep in touch with us, these are our contact. Thank you very much again for the chance. Happy OIC Youth Day to all of us, and let's work to the betterment of our work field here in Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Amalia, for such a wonderful presentations that give us so many insights. And to summarize what Ms. Amalia have presented, she presented about decent work and youth employment, the importance of work balance and unionizing. Youth employments are more dissatisfied with their work-life balance. In some countries, say the data show us that young workers are diagnosed with chronic illness. And also during this pandemic, there are two kinds of young workers, those who work from home and those who can. And also during this pandemic comes up the vulnerable group. It's come from the middle class. And after COVID-19, the unemployment increasing more than 10 million. And there are more than 70 million informal workers become vulnerable group in Indonesia, especially. The project economy growth in third quarter in some institutions said it will be -3%. And also, there are labor issues in Indonesia, specifically about omnibus law that comes up from 2019. It's about a worker welfare. It's like a loss of minimum wage provisions in districts and also the problem of low quality and etc. Lately, Emancipate Indonesia conduct a survey, a local survey in Jakarta. It shows us that around 50% of the workers doesn't have the work-life balance. Only 21% who have gained the work-life balance, and around 21% is not really sure if they have the work-life balance or not. And the survey also shows the types of work burden that the workers get. There are a lot of type of burden like uncomfortable and stressful working environment and etc. The survey also shows us the satisfactions level on government labor policy. It shows us that the majority, around 50%, it's not satisfied. Only 8% satisfied with the policy. And around 38%, it's not sure what to answer. Uh, Work-life balance is a very important to increase the economic growth because more of work-life balance achieved by the labor, it means that the workers will be more productive in their field. So because of the limited time that Ms. Amalia had, we will open the Q&A session for Ms. Amalia. If there's any question, you can put to the chat group or just send it privately to me. Thanks. So, Mr. Algazilus from Philippines, do you have any questions?
Yes, first of all, I'd like to congratulate OIC. Congratulations. And at the same time, also extend greetings. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh to my brothers and sisters there in Indonesia. Brother Taufik, thank you so much for always, keeping me updates of the activity for OIC. And Sister Astrid, thank you also. Now, my question was actually regarding the presentation. It's actually quite interesting to see how the young people face, challenges and, of course, we recognize the effect, but how do they, get into, solution, in facing the challenges of COVID-19. Thank you.
Miss Amalia, you can answer the questions.
Okay, that's
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, so there are many people who are affected by the COVID-19, and I'm very proud to see how our community here in Indonesia come together and help each other. There are many very good initiatives. The recommended work if my friends here also aware of. So in the Bagirata initiative,
I'm sorry, Ms. Amalia, can you repeat your answer?
The donate their yeah.
Can you repeat your answers? I think you got some connection issues.
I think my signal is not very good. Yeah. Or should I type the answer or?
No, it's okay. You can just say it.
Oh,
Miss Amalia?
Is it better now? Oh no.
I think you still have some connection
Hello?
issues. Oh yeah, it's much better. Hello, Miss Amalia, are you there?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
what to do.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there are many very good initiatives that are started by young people here in Indonesia. Many are affected by the COVID-19, like Bagirata or the work recommendation site that are going on in Twitter. The Bhagirata initiative, who still has written, and then
Okay, I think Miss Amalia have some connection issues, so we are just gathering the question first. I believe there are named Elena that raised hand.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you
do you have
very
any
much.
questions?
Yeah, I do. So first of all, I'd like to thank Miss Amalia for such a very interesting topics. My question is, as she mentioned before, I would like to ask how the emancipate Indonesia see the automation or industry 5.0 and its impact in the future of the employment. Yeah, thank you.
Miss Amalia, are you there? I believe Miss Amalia still have the connection issues. Okay, we just move on to the next sessions. The next sessions will be delivered by Dr. Ahmad Zakiuddin, from Chairman of Indonesia Lecture Community. He's an expert at education field. So without further ado, Dr. Ahmad Zakiuddin, the floor is yours.
Ya, terima kasih
Miss Amalia,
Mr.
please join us.
I'm sorry, Miss Amalia is already here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
There are one more question, Miss Amalia.
Mhm.
The question is how Emancipate Indonesia sees the automations and the Industry 5.0 that will affect the labor.
Okay. Can I not turn on my camera so that the signal will be better?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Okay. First of all, I would like to re-answer my first question, and also there are a follow-up question about a possible good practice in addressing COVID-19 in the economic perspective. Here in Indonesia, there are many young people and also not very young people who are affected by the COVID. They are lost their jobs and everything. And there are very good initiatives here that are started by the young people, and I think it could be it could be an example also in other countries. Like there are these things called Bagirata that accumulate the money from those who are not affected with COVID-19, that their salary didn't get cut, to put their money to give it to those who are affected by COVID-19, if that makes sense. It's like a redistribution of wealth. You take the money from people, not very much, like they donate it to this organization, but the word is not actually donation. It's wealth redistribution. They put it towards this Bagirata organization, and then people who are affected by COVID apply to them, and then they got a certain amount of money each month to help them get back to their feet. For Okay. For the second question, we in Emancipate Indonesia think more automation mean more productive economy, but with less workers. And therefore, we will need more wealth redistribution by social security, like healthcare and etc. from the government. And then we will need more money to prepare more jobs transition for the future jobs. And we see it as it is very important, not only for us, like sometimes people would push us to be the entrepreneur to create more jobs and etc. But we often forgot to not forgot, but sometimes we put aside that we all of us has to work together to solve this problem of workers welfare, like by all of us meaning us the people, also the government and also business, to do business with in a good way, like it is the government's job to protect us, it is the business job to provide jobs that are decent for us, and uh, it's their responsibility to do their job by following the guiding principle on business and human rights. It's a thing if they didn't know already. And also our job to make sure that the government and the business doing their job, protecting us and providing us with a decent work. It is our job to take care of each other, um, to unionize and be solid among the working class. Um, yeah, we can also support universal basic income from the government as a way to redistribute wealth and invest in more public funding in the working class. Worker strike and decent jobs are still important even in the more competitive future. So no one should be left behind. It is our job, all of us, as workers, to be like taking care of each other, and focus, like asking the government to do their job and demand business to do business without violating human rights, like to their workers. I think that's my answer. Thank you, and I'm sorry for my um, technical difficulties, I would say. And yeah, thank you so much for the discussion. I'm very grateful. Happy OIC Youth Day to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very
I hope
much, Ms.
that's
Amalia,
answer all of the
for
questions.
your extensive answer regarding the topic of youth employment. So we're moving to the next panelist. We're moving to Mr. Zaki Ahmad. I'm sorry, we're moving to Ahmad Zakiuddin as the chairman of Indonesia Lecturer Community as an expert of education field. So, Mr. Ahmad Zakiuddin, the floor is yours.
Ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang saya hormati Mr. Safi'i, Mr. Tantan, Mr. Esa Sukmawijaya, Mr. Toha, para speakers, Miss Amalia, Miss Asrid, Mr. Ryan, Pak Dr. Hayu Prabowo, dan moderator Mr. Kamal. Thank you very much. Terima kasih pada kesempatan ini sudah memberikan kepercayaan kepada saya untuk memberikan beberapa perspektif tentang pendidikan. Pertama-tama marilah kita panjatkan puji dan syukur kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala karena pada kesempatan ini kita bisa bersilaturahmi. Salawat dan salam semoga tercurah kepada junjungan kita Habibana wa Nabiyana Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, kepada keluarganya, para sahabatnya, dan sampailah kepada kita sebagai umatnya. Sahabat-sahabat yang saya banggakan, bicara tentang kualitas pendidikan, ya, terutama dalam perspektif Indonesia. Tentu ini sangat menarik ya, sangat menarik untuk dibahas. Mohon maaf saya akan menggunakan bahasa Indonesia nih karena ini teman-teman nih mayoritas ini. Kalau kita bicara pendidikan ya, pendidikan terutama pendidikan tinggi ya, pendidikan tinggi ada yang sangat miris sekali ya, bahwa partisipasi dari pendidikan tinggi kita itu baru sekitar 18,7%. Ya. Nah, jadi masih banyak kelompok muda, sahabat muda yang belum mengenyam pendidikan tinggi. Nah, bahkan mungkin yang tidak mengenyam pendidikan tinggi, mereka masuk ke dunia kerja ya, yang dibayar dengan harga murah. Bahkan mungkin juga banyak yang pengangguran. Ini jumlahnya sangat besar, puluhan juta. Nah, persoalan ini tentu menjadi persoalan yang menurut saya cukup mendasar, apalagi kalau kita bicara pendidikan dasar dan menengah. Pendidikan dasar dan menengah, kalau dari segi data yang dari BPS itu kurang lebih 6 juta orang ya itu putus sekolah ya. 6 juta orang putus sekolah. Nah, ini tentu menjadi perhatian kita semua bahwa ternyata apa yang disampaikan oleh survei dari PISA ya, bahwa kualitas pendidikan kita itu ranking 72 dari 77 negara. Nah, ini tentu harus menjadi evaluasi semua pihak, di mana dengan anggaran APBN yang 20%, seharusnya partisipasi pendidikan bangsa kita harusnya lebih maju. Tetapi pada kenyataannya justru menurun. Nah, ini apalagi di era pandemik COVID-19 saat ini, saya melihat bahwa semakin menurun saja kualitas pendidikan kita, karena kalau bicara secara teori dari taksonomi Bloom ya, bahwa pendidikan itu harus memberikan beberapa aspek ya. Pertama adalah aspek secara kognitif ya, kemudian afektif dan psikomotor. Nah, di dalam konteks hari ini mungkin mayoritas pembelajaran yang tentu yang saya alami ya ketika mengajar itu baru mayoritas hanya sebatas aspek kognitif saja. Jadi kalau bicara aspek afeksi atau psikomotor, nah ini sangat kurang, bahkan mungkin ada yang tidak ada seperti itu. Nah, ini evaluasi juga bagi semua pihak bahwa di jurusan-jurusan tertentu ya, misalnya jurusan yang membutuhkan praktek laboratorium, nah, tentu ini juga harus diperhatikan ya, bagaimana pemuda kita yang bersekolah itu juga bisa masuk di laboratorium. Nah, jadi beberapa hal yang menjadi catatan saya bahwa kualitas pendidikan generasi muda kita ini masih sangat minim, apalagi kalau dihubungkan dengan kesejahteraan dari pengajar ya. Karena kalau bicara kualitas siswa tentu juga harus dilihat juga dari kualitas kesejahteraan dari dosen. Nah, inilah yang menjadi sebuah catatan atau sebuah perjuangan ya dari kami sendiri di Persaudaraan Dosen Republik Indonesia, ingin memperjuangkan segi kesejahteraan dosen, karena selama ini mungkin para sahabat muda banyak yang beranggapan bahwa gaji dosen itu besar, ya, luar biasa. Padahal mayoritas dosen di perguruan tinggi itu diberikan honor itu di bawah UMR. Nah, ini sebuah catatan yang perlu disampaikan juga. Jangan dikira bahwa dosen-dosen itu digajinya besar ya. Mayoritas dosen-dosen itu digaji di bawah UMR itu. Nah, ini juga menjadi catatan kami. Nah, sahabat-sahabat, kenapa banyak putus sekolah ya? Dari survei BPS, putus sekolah itu disebabkan oleh mayoritas itu karena latar belakang pendidikan orang tua. Jadi yang pertama latar belakang pendidikan orang tua, kemudian yang kedua juga dilihat dari lemahnya ekonomi keluarga. Ya. Kemudian kurang minatnya sekolah, kemudian kondisi lingkungan di mana dia berada, kemudian juga pandangan masyarakat terhadap pendidikan. Nah, ini ada 5 perspektif yang menjadi alasan kenapa siswa itu putus sekolah. Nah, ini tentu harus menjadi perhatian kita semua bahwa sebagai pemuda ya kita juga harus berkontribusi bagaimana agar sahabat-sahabat kita, sahabat muda tidak putus sekolah. Ya, mungkin dari saya untuk sementara saya cobakan sekian. Mudah-mudahan ini memberikan perspektif baru bahwa ternyata kita harus banyak berjuang ya untuk meningkatkan yang pertama partisipasi pendidikan, yang kemudian kualitas pendidikan, dan yang ketiga kesejahteraan ya, baik kesejahteraan dosen, kesejahteraan guru ya, ataupun kesejahteraan kita semua. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Ahmad Zakiuddin, for your fruitful presentations about the educations Indonesia. To summarize what Mr. Ahmad Zakiuddin has talking about, first, he talking about the education quality in Indonesia. It said, according to Mr. Zakiuddin, only 18% of total teenager in Indonesia is continuing to college or university. And in some surveys said that Indonesia have more than 6 million kids that not get the educations. And in some surveys said also that the quality of education in Indonesia have declined in a few years. The quality of the educations is affected so many things. Also, in some university, the lecturer get underpaid from the standard that have been taken by the government. There are few factors why so many children in Indonesia get dropped out. It's from the family factors, the neighborhood itself, and the economic itself. So, moving on to the next panelist will be delivered by Mr. Ryan Asaluminarias. He's chairman of Al-Azhar in Islamic Sustainable Finance, expert in entrepreneurship. So, without further ado, Mr. Ryan Asaluminarias, the floor is yours. Mr. Ryan?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Crystal. I would like to take permission for sharing my slide. You could be allow in host layer, maybe host screen. I would like to share.
Yes, sir. You are allowed to share screen your presentation here.
Okay. Is already viewed by the audience. Okay, can I start now?
Yeah, you can, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much for the invitation for me to attend this very honorable meeting. And I would like, first of all, I would like to Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to all the participants around the world who has joined us and also participate in this very honorable meetings. So the first of all, I will also say Honorable Mr. Safi Effendi, the President of OIC Youth Indonesia, Mr. Tantan Taufik Lubis, our friend and our brother, the Chairman of Indonesia National Youth Council, and also Mr. Esa Sukmawijaya, who has give a very remarkable opening speech. He's a head of planning and organizations bureau at the Ministry of Youth and Sport Indonesian, and also Mr. Taha Ayhan, the president of Islamic Cooperation Youth Forum from Turkey, and the panel speaker, Ms. Astrid Nadia Rizkita, who's contacted me several days ago, and also Mr. Dr. Ahmad Zakiuddin, very, very remarkable, and also Ms. Amalia Suri, program manager of Emancipate Indonesia, and Dr. Hayu Prabowo, the chairman of Institute for the Environmental and Natural Resources of the Ulama Board of Indonesia. So I'm happy to be here and would like to deliver my speech. I speak as a friend of entrepreneurship, as a friend of entrepreneur, as a partner of a youth to create, to realize their dream to be an entrepreneur. So in these occasions, I would like to sharing our experience about the driving the economy of the community through Islamic youth entrepreneurship. And this at a glance, ya. Las Al Azhar and Rumah Gemilang Indonesia. Actually, every day I have an activities in Las Al Azhar. It's like a Al Zakat institution in Indonesia. Our objectives are to empowering the economic low scale through the optimizations of Islamic social funds and any other resources of donations. So Rumah Gemilang Indonesia is a specially designed program to be a model for empowering productive youth in the context of reducing the number of unemployed youth in Indonesia. And one of the other way is from entrepreneurship. So I speak as a partner of the youth to realize their dream, the youth coming from economic low scale to be an entrepreneur in the future. So maybe there are different small challenges of each country in members of OIC nation, but I think there are several problems that we have the same idea and we are deal with the poverty, unemployment, and unskilled labor, unspiritual, and morality. So our Gini ratio is about only 0.392 from March 2019. And also our human index of Indonesia is about 71.39. And also Indonesia youth well-being is about 0 or 0.4616 from IUIF.org. So it shows us how very dangerous the conditions today's youth. From the poverty, we understand and we'll deal with the statistical data in Indonesia is 28% of Indonesia's population. So after COVID-19 affected us, we have more than 5 million additional unemployed youth. And also these are very, very big numbers of us. So it's very, very homework to us. And this is why that Al Azhar take the role to help youth, and we creating something like models to solve this problem. And we also face our problem with the unemployment problem. In 2017, there are 7 or 0.4 million unemployment. It could be that 60 until 30% are productive young people are today's millennials. And also we face the most big problem of youth in Indonesia is unskilled labor. There are a lot of youth that I've met, and we understand that they haven't any skill or they have any access to have a skill to improve their quality so that they can open the new economic opportunities to help their family. And also we have also the fourth problem is about the unspiritual. Teenage crime is also caused by spiritual awareness. Unspiritual tend to behave deviating from the norms that has been existed in society. And the last but problems, there's a lot of problem, but we have identified 5 major problems, top 5 major problems that we face and we meet with the youth. there's a morality. Morality is also a problem for the millennials today. Many cases of commotion and fighting and lack of work ethic are proof that moral issue is very, very important to note. Because for the examples, if you see our millennials today, when they come to like to their neighbors or visitors, when we talk with the millennials, or we can see that they always use these phones and not not like their eye contact is not with us, so their mind is in another place. They didn't respect us as a partner of the speech. It's like examples. It's examples of the youth today's. They have decreasing in morality, so it's our concerns. And then next, so these the program models in encouraging the entrepreneurship based on sustainable social fund. There are three part or five part of the Islamic Sustainable Social Fund. There are zakat, infak, sadaqah, wakaf, and any others. In this part, is a benefit recipients from the youth coming from duafa or low economic skill youth, and we have a partnership with them in platform powered by RGI. RGI, it means Rumah Gembira Indonesia. It's like a training center for youth and focusing for youth between age 17 until 30 in Depok, Sawangan, Depok. And in this part, they're ready to run the program. And then after the graduations from the program, we concern to encourage them to be, and also mentoring them. We give the program mentor, and so that they can choose their own profession or prefer professions in the career path, like an employee and also self-employee and also the entrepreneur. And then in the future, we hope the alumni of Rumah Gembira Indonesia can be another donor to give the donor to Las Al Azhar. And then this is why it will be a sustainable social fund if we are managed very, very well for the youth well-being in the future. So this is the basic concept of empowerment of Las Al Azhar. And this taken from Banerjee and Duflo in 2011. And I think it's very, very, yes, very, very important for us to understand where's the positions of our Islamic Social Fund. This is the income of the future, and this is come today. And this line is a basic need. So this red line is a poverty zone in here, and the blue lines is our income. So this is the position where the income is below the basic need, and there are effort to fulfill the basic need independently. So in this part, we give them the zakat distributions, and after that, when they have a equal income to fulfill their basic need, we can improve them and give them the skill and also upskill to be an entrepreneur. So this part is done by corporate social responsibility or another microfinance with a very, very cheap or very, very close with the friendly to the an entrepreneur. So we also teach them about the savings and also about the investment in for the futures. So this is a program stage of entrepreneurship, mentoring of productive youth of Las Al Azhar. At the beginning, we give them the training, mentoring, and joint business and personal business. We enhancement of youth productivity to upskill, to increasing their skill so that they can open the new opportunity of the economic. And after graduations, we also give them the chance to join business with their friend or they have their own business. Later, I will give you the videos that show our alumni program has been successfully with their own business in it means neonbox.id you can also find in Instagram. The owner, the co-founder is our alumni, and also they give the work, they give the design work for their friend. And in this part, we give them the access to the capital or the financing. It means like this only examples is a BMT of Al Azhar. It's like a microfinance services from Al Azhar. And also, the last but not least, we teach them to give more access for marketing and network, and also market information. We give the startup business and sustainable business in here, like so that we hope the goals is the prosperity through entrepreneurship. So this is the learning process at Rumah Gemilang Indonesia. One first phase, they will spend 4 months to take the part in the process of educations and the practical materials, and our material provide by basic material to give them more understand in their field or their major. And also, and second phase is the workshop, and the last phase is the internship. This is the career journey. Somehow, low economic skill youth is not directly to be entrepreneur, but they are a process. They are a process. They start from the employee because of this very reasonable, because they didn't have any experience, didn't have any capital, didn't have any patience, but they must get more experience, and they can get it from the employee. So after that, they can practice their expertise to be self-employed, and the last, they can be an entrepreneur and also give their business, build the business, and give the opportunity to their friends. So this is the for society financial access. This is a pyramid graphic. In the red zone is our role from Zakat institution. And the yellow is, in the yellow part is a community bank, like a small micro banking services, and yes, lower scale business and middle scale business, and also from the like a operation or big financial service like investor, venture capital, and also wakaf productive in here. So this is it's a sample. It is an example from the first scheme to give the financial partnership for the new entrepreneur or the new alumni from Rumah Gemilang Indonesia. So we give the mentor, we give the recommendation to the Islamic bank. So we have a guarantee or the guarantee party from the insurance or the tabaru, so they can give the financial support for our entrepreneurs or newcomer, or you can say the startup or something like that. In the second scheme, we get this offering to the model, so we can give the option, the second scheme, financial partnership in here, and this is the last scheme for financial partnership. We can give a sharing profit in this, and also we also give the customer distribution channel. So this is the video of our alumni. You can view, you can watching this video for a while. Let's enjoy it. I'm sorry.
Bakit alumni? Joke lang.
Yes. Is the sounds here? Good.
Dan pergaulan yang kurang baik sempat membuat hidup nggak jelas. Bahkan sekolah SMA pun dulu sempat terbengkalai. Setelah itu saya hijrah ke Jakarta, itu jadi tukang las. Karena merasa kok hidup gini-gini aja, akhirnya saya memutuskan masuk Rumah Gemilang Indonesia. Alhamdulillah, di RGI saya menemukan suatu kehidupan yang sebenarnya gitu, yang merubah hidup saya. Di sana Saya seperti orang yang terlahir dan hidup kembali. Setelah lulus dari RGI dulu, itu sempat kembali jadi tukang las lagi. Suatu hari saya melihat ada kayak bengkel las, cuman di situ vakum, kayak udah nggak beroperasi lagi gitu. Dan suatu saat itu saya bertemu dengan si pemiliknya itu, dan saya mempresentasikan konsep bisnis di bidang neon box tersebut. Alhamdulillah beliau menerima, sampai pada akhirnya kita kerjasama udah hampir setahun. Dulu saya setiap ada orderan itu apa-apa dipegang sendiri. Itu mulai dari survei, customer ngechat, customer telepon, sampai layout ulang, bahkan sampai ke pemasangan saya ikut masang. Saat ini saya sudah memiliki 5 karyawan, dan salah satunya adalah alumni Rumah Gemilang Indonesia juga. Di situ saya mulai kayak merasa ada keluarga baru di Neon Box ID. Itu yang membuat saya terus semangat. Sekarang Neon Box ID yang sudah jalan dari Juni 2018 yang lalu, omset bisa sampai 50 juta, alhamdulillah per bulan. Jadi sebagian besar orderan masuk lewat website, lewat sosial media, Instagram, Facebook, dan segala macam. Bagi saya, sukses itu hak semua orang, nggak peduli apa latar belakang kita, asal kita punya tekad yang kuat, semangat pantang menyerah, dan banyak ibadah. Yang pasti, kita berhak mendapatkan kesuksesan itu.
Okay, how to be like a Marino? There are five steps. First, you can jumpstart your startup business. Don't worry and don't think too much. Like we're just talking about business, but we have no action to doing the business. Because of this, also as a employee, I also start my business. Like Tahu Semangat, Miss Bunga here, she buy my product also, and many people in Jakarta today also enjoy my product because of what? Because I also motivated by Mr. Marino. How come my student can do the business, but I haven't any business? It's nonsense. So I start my business. And second of all is take action, make it happen. Just take action and make it your dream happen. And third is a creative and more innovative, because of the machines can do everything, maybe can beat the speed or the skill of human, but believe it, the machine cannot create something and innovate something, because it's a human's job and human's human specialized. So the fourth step is open mind. We should be a good man, and also we have a good open mind, upper our minded, and to create any ideas, and we and have a good new ideas to start our business. And the last but not least, also we learn from the process. There's nothing to say but the instant successfully. Easy come, easy go. If you don't like the process, you haven't any chance to be success. So is that guarantee for you successful? Absolutely not. There's no guarantee of you're successful. Everyone has their own destiny. But if you never start, no more chance to be successful. So that, thank you very much. And happy, what's that? Happy OIC Youth Day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ryan, for your extensive speech. To summarize what Mr. Ryan have said, he said about the driving the economy of the community through Islamic youth entrepreneurship. The challenge of the millennial generations in developing countries comes from every sector, like poverty and unemployment, unskilled, and etc. But to be noted that poverty has become a common problem in Indonesia. And to help the millennial generation, Al-Azhar Indonesia made a program that encouraging the entrepreneurship in Indonesia. Al-Azhar also made a basic concept of empowerment to help the millennial generation to get out from the poverty zone. Entrepreneurship is one from many ways to get out from the poverty, but the problem is only 3.1% entrepreneur in Indonesia from the total population. So that's why Rumah Gemilang came to help the millennial generation to build their business and get out from the poverty. We're going next to the next speaker, which is Dr. Hayu Prabowo as Chairman of Institute for the Environment and Natural Resources of the Majelis Ulama Indonesia or MUI. Dr. Hayu Prabowo, are you here?
Ya, Assalamualaikum.
Yeah. The time is yours, Dr. Hayu Prabowo.
Thank you. Dama Kristal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the time. Distinguished guests, distinguished speakers, Pak Safi'i sebagai Ketua Safi'i, Effendi as the President of OIC Youth Indonesia, Mr. Esa Sukmawijaya as the Head of Planning and Organization Bureau of Ministry of Youth and Sports Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Ahdian, President of Islamic Cooperation Youth Forum. Thank you for the time that given to me for this honorable meeting. So I would like to share my presentation over here. Okay, so I would present the what you call the one objective of this OIC meeting, whereby this one of which is supporting sustainable development. So I will start from this event for this OIC Youth Day event. So firstly, that we are live in a city like this one. City is far away from the nature, and this become the beginning of interaction of youth with the nature. So like my children, they cannot far away from nature. And urban community seems to be cut off from the nature and increasingly indifferent of the conservation. So why we need to care this youth of the conservation? So I would like us to listen this from the climate activist Greta Thunberg speech at in 2019 at UN Climate Action Summit in New York. If you she mentioned that regarding the ecosystem collapse and the eternal economic growth. So I would like to share with you of her speech. Hopefully you can listen.
My message is that we'll be watching you.
Okay.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
Okay, can you hear the video, Mas Dama?
Yeah, sir, we can hear.
Okay, good. Okay, you can listen. So if we listen to the previous speakers, it's the difficulties of young people, living in the world. It is different with my age at the time, even though we are difficult, but we have plenty of job. So it's very, very different. Why this Greta Thunberg is protesting the adult people in the UN, and UN people is supporting her expression. So I just want to explain why. So my background is my doctor is in the Islamic economics, so I have a background in economics, so I can explain. But also I have interest in the in the environment, so it's kind of blended, and it is kind of mixed expertise and knowledge. So ecosystem is the human and nature relationship. So if you recall what Greta Thunberg mentioned is about the ecosystem collapse and the eternal economic growth. So it's those type. So I will explain the relationship. And economy is human relationship. What economy does in this chart over here, the economy is taking natural resources from ecosystem. So whatever that we use, whatever that we eat, like our home, our computer, our clothes, our food, is come from the ecosystem. We take the economy from this natural resource. We can only eat something that which is grow from the earth, because we cannot eat earth. So this is very important. The ecosystem is supporting the economy, and also the economy produce waste. Like every day we produce waste. We eat, we take something from earth, we eat, and we wear clothes, we are using cars or motorcycle, or everything is come from the earth. And we produce waste, and the earth and the ecosystem is cleaning up our waste. And what happens is that we are currently overproducing the natural resources, and we are overtaking, we are over exploitation of our ecosystem, and we are disposing a lot of waste to our ecosystem. And since that ecosystems, we do not put any what you call the cost of externality, since that we are free, to take something from the earth and waste it to the earth. So we don't take financial accounting for this one. So this become problem since we disregard this ecosystem. So if you so the ecosystem has the we have the what we call the biodiversity. So we can only eat if there is plants, and if there is also animals, and also the micro creature over there. So there are many diversity, which is functional diversity, ecological diversity, species diversity, and genetic diversity. So it is component of the earth that the earth will become health. If one of the diversity is lost, then the earth will be collapsing. So what Greta mentioned is currently the ecosystem is collapsing, and there will be mass destruction of people. Like you guys, like young people, in the future, that you will face this one if we are not carefully understand this one. So why I'm interested, because I'm interested in protecting my son, my daughter, because they will be, in the future, all my children for this one. So if we look at the biodiversity destruction, we have the forest that is destructed, we have the waste, we have the, like, say, the coral reef has been destroyed, and all of the plastic and everything is, the ecosystem is collapsing. So if you look at the GDP, global GDP growth rate is currently declining year by year. The GDP is still growing, but the growth is declining, and we are currently experiencing many economic crises. In the past, it's very, very rare when I was young. It's very rare in economic crisis, but currently it's almost a couple of years or 3 years. The cycle is very getting narrow. If you look at the economic growth, currently we only measure the GDP, the gross domestic product, which is the measure of economic activities that disregard the environmental effect, because the gross domestic product is the money that this is transacted in the world of marketplace competition. So it's not accounting for the externalities cost of our environment. And if we so this is the red one, and the green one is actually genuine progress indicator. So if we take the GDP minus whatever the cost for on social, environment, economic cost, it is actually flattening since late 70s. nothing. So we are not doing any growth at all, actually. So the GPI, genuine progress indicator, is GDP. Itu GDP minus incidental cost minus social cost, because there is, like Amelia mentioned, there is what you call the injustice of people, like environmental housing justice. So this GPI is actually lower than GDP. So we need to account that one to make the proper economic growth. And if you look at Indonesia, this one is data is from BNP, atau is Badan Nasional Penanggulangan Bencana, or National Disaster of Management of National Disaster Body. So if you look at this one, this chart, the disaster is increasing. The increase is actually normally is composing of floods, landslide, tornadoes, drought, forest fire, and only very small part is earthquake and tsunami. So 99% of this what you call the disaster is come from our act of the earth. Then there will be of course this will be increasing in the future. So you guys, young people, will experience more of this kind of destruction. Plus, currently we experience COVID. COVID is no more than because of the forest destruction. What happened is, in the past, during this, 60s, we have plenty of forest, whereby the wildlife and our life is spared by this big forest. But currently the forest is smaller, so there will be more interaction between wildlife and our life. So the virus from this wildlife is come across to our life, to our livestock, to our body. Now previously become from animal to animal, no animal to directly to human, like COVID. So like HIV, Ebola, SARS is come from this kind of animal. In the future, if we not carefully maintain the forest here, then there will be more nasty viruses will come out into our life. Yeah. So that's COVID. COVID will bring us recession, like we expect currently recession. So the disaster is COVID, the impact is recession. But there will be bigger and much, devastating impact, like Greta Thunberg mentioned, is climate change. So as climate change happen, disaster, there will be impact. It's biodiversity collapse, and I've explained to you that the biodiversity collapse means that all ecosystem will be ruined. All ecosystem will be ruined. All life will be vanished. So this will be. So we need to understand this, the young people, why we need to care about the climate change and why we need to care about the biodiversity. And this climate change is what? Climate change is, we have this is Earth and this atmosphere over here, the blue, light blue over here. The atmosphere is regulates the incoming heat from the sun into our Earth. So the Earth temperature is kind of very nice and warm. It's not warm, but very nice to live for. But because of our activities that we're releasing CO2, carbon from our cars, planes, we are burning forests, our plants, this atmosphere become thicker. So what we call this greenhouse effect, because it is like we put the plastic in at the top of atmosphere, and when the heat comes into the earth, the heat cannot release back to the beyond to the atmosphere. Like we are in the car with the closed windows, and the heat comes in but cannot come out. So the temperature of the earth increase. The temperature increase, it will affect the evaporation of sea and of land. So there will be drought when the sufficient amount of transpiration evaporated mass is at the sky, there will be heavy fall. So there will be flood, heavy flood, and will be followed by heavy drought. So this as mentioned in the chat before, that the weather has become extreme. So the weather extreme, there will be much more crop failure in the future. And this, based on the study by the Global Risk Assessment Survey, the climate change is the central of every disaster in the world. So that's why the whole leaders, the country's leaders, the presidents agreed in the Paris Agreement that they signed how to mitigate this climate change, to reduce the impact of this climate change. Because this one is scary. It is will make people more poor because of the climate change effect, the biodiversity impact. So today's key challenge is how to increase production to meet the growing demand for food, feed, and bioenergy while conserving the biodiversity and reducing the pressure on natural resources and ecosystems. So now we have to decide. You guys need to decide whether we are going to have economic growth as I have done previously, or different kind of economics. So we need to go to certainly for the sustainable progress. So that's why the UN promoting this sustainable development goals with these 17 items. And this actually people previously know about triple bottom line. So normally business only care about profit, but now we cannot do it anymore. We have to care three bottom line, which is not only profit but also people and planet. So we need to care about these three. So this essentially the sustainable development goal. And how to support the sustainable development goals is we have the public finance, which is from government. It's not enough. Government is not enough money to support this program. And secondly, the private finance. It is okay because 80% of our activities are financed by banks, by private individuals or stock market. So we need to have a good green business to support this one. And thirdly, social finance. Social finance is like last zakat, infak, sedekah, wakaf. So it's kind of the religious social funds. And what is the ESG financing means? There are three components, which is environmental, social, and governance. So certainly for this entity need to be profitable, but other than profitable, they need to consider these three things: environmental, social, governance. Environmental, such as climate change, biodiversity, and etc. Social is like labor standard, human rights, as previously Amelia mentioned, product liability, health and safety, and governance, which is diversity, inclusion, transparency, board independence, and ownership and ethics. So this kind of this one is governance, how the company is governed. Social is impact on society and communities, and environment is interaction with physical environment. So in the future, how the young people need to do? The young people need to be the social entrepreneur. So nourishing our community while fostering the economic independence. So you cannot avoid the environment and the social anymore. So you have to consider that. So if you like the four quadrants of the operand, so normally for the corporation, so this one, the y-axis is financial viability, x-axis is social impact. So for normal business, they would like to have the financial viability very high. They do not care about the social impact at all. Like CSR is kind of just very, very small amount. It is just not very. It is not strategic, but it is just to have a good image only. But in the future, this corporation need to be social enterprise. So the corporation, normal corporation, need to be social enterprise. How to continue to build sustainability and innovate the deeper impact for social and environment. Also, like myself in Council of Indonesia, MUI, we are not profit organization, but we cannot survive with this one. We need also go to the social enterprise. So we need to combine the corporation skill with the non-profitable entity like myself. So how we are going to do this from my side and because what happened is that the 20% of investment done by in this world is come from the religious funds, because in the past, as you remember, that religion is ruling the world. Just after certain centuries, some centuries ago, that it's come to be more religion is not anymore ruling the world. But anyway, the faith-based organization have the asset, that we can mobilize for conservation. ABO faith-based organization has recognized as a key player in eradicating poverty, improving public health, protecting the environment through its asset that includes universities, schools, hospital, mosques, lands, and cash. Like myself, I run the e-commerce or environmentally friendly mosque and also schools for this one. And secondly, FBO is a sustainable institution, and in recent years, policymakers have begun to involve in the environment and resource management. So, like myself, I am involved in the United Nations with UNEP, United Nations Environmental Protection Program for Faith for Earth and Interfaith Rainforest Initiative. So we interfaith work over here. And thirdly, the network of ABO and religious leaders transcends continents and political boundaries, making them the right and practical means to achieve sustainable development. So we are not bound by the continents and political. We have political influence, especially during the election. But after the election, we are getting not recognized anymore. So how we are going to do it? So mostly the development project do not fit the private finance requirement, because the green business is high risk and low profit. But we have the finance, we have the private finance, we have banking, capital market, non-bank financial like insurance, finance technology, and we have also public finance, public and social finance like government budget and zakat infrastruktur keuangan. And we have built kind of blended finance. So during the first period, during the startup period, we use the public and social finance to do project. Once this project is fly, then the private financial access will come to this project, to support this high risk, low profit market. So how we are going to do this? This example, the UNDP Innovative Financing Lab. It is for micro hydro power plant project in Jambi. It provides electricity for 4 remote villages for 803 households or 4,500 people. It is using Basnas, CSR funds from Jambi Bank, and UNDP Global Environmental Finance. So you can see this startup using this one, but when it is generating revenue, this project can be expanded with the commercial funds. So this kind of that I'm going to tell. It is just just to have flavor and knowledge how this Greta Thunberg is getting famous, and it's agreed by adults, by the by the scientists. What her speech in the UN. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Hayu Prabowo, for such fruitful presentations that give us so many insights about the connections between environment and the economy itself. For the summarize of the presentations, He talking about the supporting sustainable development. Urban communities seems to be cut off from the nature and are increasingly indifferent for conservation. Ecosystem is related with economy, the cause of externality on the ecosystem for exploitation of natural resources, assets, and water pollutions. Control is not financially taken into account in current economic activities. From a year of 1961 until 2016, it shows that there are some countries that are declining in GDP, and also to be noted that the trends of Indonesia disaster from 2009 to 2019 shows that there are some disasters that increasing in the past few years, like flood. In some cases, deforestation is the cause of the pandemic, like many viruses like Ebola, SARS come because the destructions of the natural habitats such as deforestation. Uh, to be noted that it means that if we are maintain the environment itself, it means that we also maintain the economy, because if the environment is broken, so the economic too. Mm, we're going to move to the last speakers. She is Miss Astrid Nadia Rizkita, as the Secretary General of OIC Youth Indonesia. Miss Astrid Nadia Rizkita, time is yours.
Thank you so much for giving me the floor and for the excellent moderation, Brother Damar.
Miss Astrid, can you louder?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's much better.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for giving me the floor, Brother Damar, and for the excellent moderation. And again, thank you to all the attendees, the participants, and also to the fellow speakers still staying with us till this time. My highest appreciation as well to the welcoming speakers, to Mr. Shafi Effendi, Mr. Tantan Taufik Lubis, Mr. Esa Sukmawijaya, also our supervisor at OIC Indonesia and also the head of Planning and Organization Bureau, and also His Excellency Mr. Ta Aihan, who gave his welcoming remarks earlier, and also to the speakers present in the panel, Ms. Amalia Suri, Dr. Hayu Prabowo, Mr. Ryan Asaluminaris, and also Dr. Ahmad Zakiuddin for their excellent intervention and insights regarding their work, and also not only this occasion is to share work and to give presentations, but also for silaturahim, because I've met these people, throughout the 2019, especially after our new administration got inaugurated last year. We met and share our work, and this is our continuation and commitment for cooperation, inshallah. So in this occasion, I'd like to share and give food for thought regarding the OIC strategy. It has already been mentioned earlier by the welcoming speakers. And first of all, before we come into that, I'm quite happy when, most of the speakers greeted Happy OIC Youth Day and everything. And especially, we're still in the spirit of International Youth Day celebrated last month in August. And it becomes all the more special because, OIC, as the second largest intergovernmental organization after the UN, has their own Youth Day. So that is a phenomenal thing, and it's monumental actually, because again, not many people know about OIC yet, not as much as the UN, primarily because of the social media, the raising of awareness. And also when we hear about OIC in the news, it's usually, involving, conflict, war and everything. because that is actually the fact of OIC countries today. In Indonesia, the youth have, well, even though we are still, in the process of being a developed country, but this year we
Miss Astrid, sorry for interrupting.
Yes.
Can you more louder or closer to the microphone?
Okay. Okay, thanks for the heads up.
Yeah, thank you.
So most of us as the youth do not have the same luxury to experience what we have now. Just take the example of the COVID-19. This COVID-19 forces us to, do everything online, but, there's this standard that we have to use a certain laptop, a certain device compatible with the Zoom, for example, or other applications. And, this further, magnifies the existing gap. And regarding the condition of the OIC countries, this Islamic Cooperation Youth Forum, which is an affiliated organ under the OIC. So for those of you who are not yet familiar, the OIC has several bodies under them, just like the UN and UNDP. They have the ECOSOC, they have UNESCO. The OIC has ICYF as the affiliated organ, primarily focused on coordinating youth policies, because again, OIC countries have different conditions. Mainly they are developing countries, and OIC geography is very diverse, spanning from Asia, and then there's this. Asia is also big. We have Central Asia, we have Southeast Asia, we have South Asia, and we have the Middle East or the Arab countries, and we have Africa as well. And not to mention also the Muslim minorities spread all over the world, mainly in Europe as well. So the existence and the establishment of this ICYF was founded, actually the first General Assembly was in 2004, and then they established the headquarters in Istanbul. That's why they marked the OIC Day, because it was also done in 3rd September on 2006. Less than 2 decades actually, but they have done a lot. And they have done a lot, so much in the past few years, especially with the help of the social media. And regarding the COVID-19, let me share the reflection nationally. There's been a rise of interest of youth primarily on current issues, on public policy, on foreign affairs as well, because 2020 has been tough for us, for all of us. Let's not forget that we started this year with the forest fire in Australia, but before that, there is also this issue about this possible virus from Wuhan. And then, since March till now, the world has changed drastically, the way we operate. And also not to forget to mention the crisis in the Middle East, and recently Palestine, Lebanon, and the existing humanitarian conditions in the Rohingya, Uyghur, and others. So this condition, invokes actually the youth to take part in whatever possible way they can. And a recent report launched by an institute in Indonesia named Mariel Institute, they categorized this into 4, namely the dilemma of stay at home. So everyone is, thinking on how to survive, because they know that the virus is deadly. The second is the rise of collaboration. We have seen a big increase in the number of platforms, movement, organization in the social media, primarily actually first addressing the COVID-19, they do social projects and everything. But other than that, they also focus on education. So there's a big, drastic increase in the interest to take part in civil society, in youth engagement, also politics as well, because we have the millennial politicians, millennial staffs in government as well. And also the third is to how to work from home, work, mobile, and also the fourth is new normal. So this is the stage that we're in. And alhamdulillah, in our online event, we still have people participating, and we thank you so much for your time. And after this, we're going to shift slowly to offline event or even hybrid, because recently we have also witnessed hybrid events as well. So regarding, this is important because more youth are interested in how they can take part in activities. They can use their voice. They can share their knowledge, and also how they can better leverage themselves or increase their human capital as well as the social capital. And this OIC strategy was launched in 2 years ago in the fourth session of ICOSM. It is the Islamic Conference of Youth and Sports Ministers. So in the OIC, the highest level of meeting is the Islamic Summit, and then they have the Council of Foreign Ministers, and then they have ministerial meetings, including the Ministers of Youth and Sports. And this year is supposed to be held in Saudi Arabia, but due to the pandemic, it's postponed. But one of the results of the ICOSM meeting in 2018 held in Baku, Azerbaijan, was also the announcement that Indonesia would be willing to host the seventh session of ICYSM, which is set to be held in 2024. So this is an important opportunity for the Indonesia as a country, as the country with the largest Muslim population, but also for the youth to be able to showcase themselves and share their achievements. And this initiative for us, especially the OIC Indonesia under the Indonesian National Council, because the membership of ICYF is based on member organization, and the member organization is primarily the youth councils and the nationally accredited and recognized leading youth organizations. And Indonesia is registered under the Youth Council. And OIC Indonesia is the umbrella organization for the Muslim youth organizations. And we have been going well so far. And one of our commitments, especially after being inaugurated last year on May, is to actually try to implement the activities outlined in the Joint Youth Action Plan, which was also adopted in the third ICYSM, which was held in the Istanbul, and it outlined 14 types of activities. And alhamdulillah, we managed to organize the first model OIC, which is the diplomatic simulation of the OIC and recognized by ICYF. And we're moving to other activities as well. So regarding the youth strategy, it is the document that was launched in 2018 in April. and it was months before the launching of the UN Youth Strategy in the General Assembly at the UN. And it shows that the OIC is also very committed to developing the youth in the OIC geography. And they have 11 main priorities, and 4 of these are actually put into the topic of discussion of today's webinar. And Alhamdulillah, we got to see the activities and the important work that has been done by leading organizations in Indonesia in the field of education, by the PDRI, or the Indonesian Lecturer Community, in which they highlight, the quality of education in Indonesia, especially higher education, and also, the quality of research, the need for better research, the need for better collaboration, and also the welfare of the lecturers as well. And we've heard also from Emancipate Indonesia regarding the youth employment, and they have been advocating very well. I've been following their work as well on the conditions, the labor market, the labor regulations on and the welfare of the labor. And they also shared the report on the young people and their work conditions. And another important presentation from Mr. Ryan. He's an expert in sustainable Islamic finance, and shared about entrepreneurship. They've been doing massive work on, entrepreneurship and also training for the youth, especially the underprivileged youth, by means of scholarship, and also from LPH MUI, as they are MUI. They've been doing massive important work in terms of raising awareness on the environment, and that it is not separate from Islamic teaching to focus on that. And the environment issue is also part of the 2025 OIC program of action, and also in the OIC strategy. And it's important for the youth to be aware of that and raise their capacity, raise their awareness, and be involved in the decision-making recommendation, at least in their best possible way regarding sustainability. And there's been also a massive movement there as well. And so the OICU strategy is also in line definitely with the SDGs, or the Sustainable Development Goals, primarily the goal number 1 on no poverty, quality education, gender equality, and good job and economic growth, reduce inequality, and peace and justice. And this is actually, one of our initiatives as the OIC Indonesia to raise awareness about the OIC strategy. We have had a workshop, actually a limited workshop on Asia's perspective on the OIC strategy and the Joint Action Plan back in 2018 in the Ministry of Youth and Sports Republic of Indonesia as well. And then last year, we also had a discussion. It was actually before we were inaugurated, but we already had a new administration already, in which we discussed youth engagement in general and OIC strategy, and also involvement of youth in various international platforms such as G20, Close 20, and Youth 20. And in 2019, our aim was to raise awareness about our organization as well, and the work of the relevant institution on youth and Muslim youth. And also we again had our first model OIC and entrepreneurship program forum in November at the Parliament. So that was one of the or two of the items in the Joint Youth Action Plan. And this year, we were supposed to make it more accessible. We plan to travel to various parts of Indonesia, especially to universities, to raise awareness and give various insights on what youth can contribute. But unfortunately, we had to shift to online event. And this occasion, we had the OIC strategy as the theme, so as to highlight the organizations in Indonesia. And we'll be having another session next week with the 4 remaining themes, namely the social inclusion and youth and extremism, new cultural and global challenges, and marriage and early marriage. So, and this, we're planning to make it more accessible. And as umbrella organization, we aim to gather the youth organizations that are leading already, and to move in more collective action, because for youth it's important to recognize our allies and identify our strengths and networks, and the role models is also important. So these speakers that are present are the ones that we'll definitely consult much and cooperate with, and we'll be sharing further informations after this, inshallah. So thank you so much for giving me the time. I give the floor back to Damar.
Thank you very much, Ms. Astrid, for your extensive speech about the youth role both in international and national scope. We're moving on to the last sessions, which is Q&A sessions. We already received some questions. The first questions from Nabila to Dr. Ahmad Zakiuddin. Dr. Ahmad Zakiuddin, are you here with us?
Ya.
Ya. Kita udah menerima beberapa pertanyaan, Pak. Pertanyaan pertama itu ke Bapak tentang sistem pendidikan di Indonesia, baik dari model ataupun dari standarnya, biasanya ditentukan oleh pemerintahan yang sedang berjalan. Permasalahannya adalah setiap permintaan diganti, setelah setiap pemerintahan berganti, maka sistem pemerintahannya juga akan maka sistem pendidikannya juga akan berganti pula, Pak. Nah, bagaimana kita tahu bahwa sistem mana yang cocok untuk pendidikan kita jika setiap 5 tahun sistem pendidikan kita berganti, Pak? Terima kasih.
Ya, terima kasih moderator. Memang sistem pendidikan Indonesia ini ya, setiap pemerintahan berganti itu notabene berganti juga ya. Seperti sekarang kebijakan hari ini yaitu kampus merdeka, ya. Kampus merdeka. Kemudian ya kalau berbicara sistem pendidikan, sejujurnya ya bahwa tujuan pendidikan itu dijelaskan ya bahwa tujuan pendidikan itu adalah bagaimana memanusiakan manusia. Nah, tapi pada kenyataannya justru sekarang justru tidak memanusiakan manusia, tetapi di tingkat perguruan tinggi misalnya sekarang itu terjadi yang disebut dengan eksploitasi keilmuan. Ya, jadi eksploitasi keilmuan dosen ya tanpa dibarengi dengan skema kesejahteraan. Ya, dosen harus mengajar ya, bahkan wajib sampai 12 SKS, tetapi skema kesejahteraannya tidak diatur gitu. Nah, ini yang membuat kami para dosen berjuang ya untuk meningkatkan itu, karena dari jumlah perguruan tinggi yang lebih dari 4.000 ya, kalau dibandingkan dengan Cina yang penduduknya besar, ya kita paling besar ya, 4.000 lebih perguruan tinggi, baik negeri dan swasta, yang paling banyak adalah swasta. Nah ini regulasi yang ada, karena undang-undang kita masih menyatu ya, antara undang-undang guru dan dosen ya. Nah ini memang menjadi prioritas kita di PDRI, bagaimana kita memberikan dukungan agar ada undang-undang tersendiri, ya, undang-undang dosen tersendiri, di mana di situ memuat beberapa hal yang kita rekomendasikan. Misalnya dosen kalau misalkan sudah mempunyai jabatan fungsional, ya mereka layak untuk mendapatkan sertifikasi seperti itu. Nah, pada kenyataannya justru tidak seperti itu, karena para dosen yang sudah mempunyai jabatan fungsional itu harus mendaftar, kemudian harus ujian ya untuk mendapatkan sertifikasi dosen. Karena tidak semua lolos ya, meskipun kadang-kadang ada dosen senior juga yang tidak lolos. Nah, ini menurut saya kalau skema kesejahteraan ini dibangun, maka seharusnya itu semua yang sudah memiliki jabatan fungsional itu harus sudah mendapatkan sertifikasi. Nah, yang kedua bicara tentang kebijakan ya, kebijakan dari pemerintahan kita. Nah, sebetulnya yang paling penting ya, yang paling penting itu adalah bagaimana kontrol terhadap perguruan tinggi, terutama perguruan tinggi swasta. Ya, karena yang namanya perguruan tinggi itu seharusnya adalah non-profit ya, tetapi perguruan tinggi di kita justru bicaranya itu adalah bicara untung dan rugi. Ketika bicara untung dan rugi, maka bicaranya adalah break even point ya, seperti itu. Nah, ketika bicara break even point, otomatis perguruan tinggi di kita itu cari untung seperti itu. Padahal kalau berbicara badan hukum yayasan ya, kalau perguruan tinggi swasta kan di bawah badan hukum yayasan. Nah, seharusnya kalau di bawah badan hukum yayasan itu sifatnya non-profit seperti itu. Tetapi pada kenyataannya mayoritas perguruan tinggi di kita itu adalah mereka itu mencari untung. Nah, ketika mencari untung, maka tentu biaya-biayanya itu tentu mahal ya, seperti itu. Nah, ketika biaya mahal, maka tidak semua generasi muda kita bisa untuk berkuliah, sehingga dari data ya 18,7%. Nah, masih rendah ya partisipasi pendidikan tinggi di kita, masih 18,7%. Nah, ini menjadi PR yang luar biasa juga kalau menurut saya. Organisasi pemuda seperti OIC ini turun juga ya, bagaimana melakukan proses edukasi, sosialisasi ya, sehingga dari survei tadi yang telah saya sebutkan bahwa kondisi peminatan ya, ini kurang minat gitu. Jadi pemuda kita kurang minat untuk bersekolah di perguruan tinggi. Nah, saya yakin kenapa mereka kurang minat, tentu beberapa faktor ya. Mungkin faktornya adalah faktor dorongan dari orang tua atau faktor biaya ya, seperti itu. Nah, faktor biaya ini menjadi hal yang utama juga, karena dari hasil survei faktor ekonomi ini adalah faktor kedua ya. Faktor kedua kenapa mereka tidak mau bersekolah, karena alasan ekonomi. Nah, ini tentu pemerintah dalam hal ini Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan ya seharusnya sudah bicara mengenai ini, bagaimana mengatasi teman-teman kita yang tidak sekolah, karena bicara sekolah adalah hak semua warga negara sesuai dengan pasal 9 ayat 1 Undang-Undang nomor 23 ya tahun 2002 ya. Nah, ini juga kita harus masuk ke wilayah situ. Nah, kelemahannya organisasi organisasi kita ya, baik organisasi keislaman, organisasi perjuangan, itu kelemahannya adalah di persoalan tokoh-tokohnya tidak lahir dari perjuangan. Jadi anggotanya atau pengurusnya ya itu tidak mau berjuang seperti itu. Selain tidak mau berjuang, juga kebanyakan organisasi di kita itu organisasi yang hanya bergulat atau bicara tentang politik negara. Itu sehingga mereka tidak masif ke bawah bicara solusi ya. Artinya lebih pada elitis daripada mementingkan kepentingan di bawah. Makanya saya menekankan harus ada tiga strategi untuk membangun agar organisasi kita solid. Yang pertama adalah strategi kultural, ya strategi kultural. Ya strategi kultural ini kita harus membangun secara kultur ya ke bawah. Kita harus tahu persoalan dari di bawah. Yang kedua adalah strategi struktural. Ya, saya yakin teman-teman di OIC juga piawai dalam membangun strategi struktural. Dan yang ketiga adalah strategi mobilitas sosial. Bagaimana kita melakukan mobilisasi ya, baik mobilisasi ide, gagasan, atau mobilisasi intelektual. Nah, mungkin konteks webinar hari ini kita juga membangun mobilisasi intelektual ya, bagaimana kita membuat antitesa dari berbagai persoalan sehingga kita bisa menarik kesimpulan, kemudian kita mencari solusi dari apa yang kita bahas hari ini. Mungkin itu saja dari saya. Terima kasih kepada OIC, kepada Mbak Astrid, kepada sahabat-sahabat Kang Dias ya, kemudian moderator Mr. Kamal. Ya, mudah-mudahan silaturahmi ini tidak hanya sebatas di sini, tapi bisa ditindaklanjuti dengan konkret ya di lapangan. Kita siap dari PDRI, kita siap berkolaborasi ya sampai ke tingkat bawah atau ke kampus-kampus. Ya, mungkin itu saja dari saya. Mohon maaf atas kekurangannya. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih Bapak untuk jawabannya. We're next questions is from Bila. She is the head of the environmental divisions at Jakarta Muhammadiyah Student Associations or EMM. Would like to ask Dr. Hayu Prabowo. Dr. Hayu Prabowo, are you with us?
Yes.
Yeah. The questions is all of us agreed that most of the environmental damage came from human, and for these occasions, I want to specify to the impact of corporation activities that damage the environment. What's your opinion about that, and what should we do as citizens around their area?
Okay. So actually, the environmental damage is not only by corporation, but actually it is very specific to the moral or ethical issue. So that's why the world is currently approaching the religious leaders to work on this one. So we working globally on interfaith, as I mentioned earlier, that we and UN work together on the faith for Earth or interfaith rainforest initiative. So we as the the people, normal people, we need to stand for this environmental damage, especially as this is the moral issues. Then the approach should be done through the religious approach. So because we are using the language of religion, the approach of the religious leaders. What happened is that we have already enough what you call the regulations, but how this regulation is executed is different with the fact that we face today. So that's why the world is currently looking at this moral and religious approach, because essentially the environmental issue is not the technical issue. It is just principally is the moral issue, and the moral issues can be done, can be resolved through the religious issue, and the religious issue specifically we can go through our 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 mosque, our what you call the house of worships like mosque, churches, puri. So that's why, because people is congregate over there, and we actually MOE has developed fatwas. We have issued fatwas, 6 fatwas at least for this environmental issue, and we just finished with today's this evening actually with the fatwa on the management of price of waste. So actually, using this fatwas, we have the basic the Islamic rule of the environmental issue, and currently we disseminate this, socialize this fatwa into the public through the not only through khutbah, and also through green mosque. So we have you can look at the ecomasjid.id, and that is our site. You can see how we are working on this one through the religious approach. So corporation is just a way, but actually the behind corporation is a man, So we have to approach the man behind the gun, not the gun, but the man behind the gun. So we are going to direct that kind of direction. Okay, Parama. That's it.
Thank you for your answer, Mr. Hayu Prabowo. We're moving on to the next questions is from Mr. Ilham. He's from OIC Youth Indonesia. He asking that these questions addressed to Mr. Ryan Asa Luminarius. Are you with us, Mr. Ryan?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. The questions is, if we compare to other countries like Malaysia and Singapore, we are below them in the context of the entrepreneurship. From the total 260 million populations, only 3% from the populations is doing the business and entrepreneurship. There are many reasons why Indonesian, especially millennials, are reluctant to the business. One of which is the complicated of rules, the policy, the bureaucracy. How do Al-Azhar and Rumah Gemilang respond to this phenomenon?
Okay, thank you very much for the questions. Yeah, I understand that, yeah, our percentage of the entrepreneurs is less than Singapore, Malaysia, if we compare with this two national. But we can see at first point is 3%, and from 250 million people is also much number. It's a high number of the entrepreneurship or business. So I think it's not like yeah, we can compare to how much is the total of the people in Singapore. I think it's less than 7 million five. So we just but my point is yeah, Al Azhar is concerned to encourage the new entrepreneurship like a model. We give the government model to adopt and also to realize in the small sector or by government, and we present our model for 10 years. So we have many proven model. we have alumni to to be an entrepreneur, and so we are focused on this model because we think it's a very simple thing that we think creatively, we think globally, and we act locally because we understand that a lot of young people is not quite have good enough for access information, education, and is that increasing improvement of their skill to open the new economic opportunities. So Al-Azhar give the model and also give the practice and prove to the government. So yeah, we give the government, we give the ball to the governments, how they give the policy or the implementation. Do they can implement this concept or not? It's depend on the government because yeah, in small area, Al Azhar did that we can do as well as. I think that's the answer.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Ryan, for the answer. I think that concludes the sessions. I would like to thank the speakers once again for giving up their times for this webinar. And also thank you for the participant for your participations in the webinar. We hope to see you in the next webinar. Well, I think the webinar is done. Thank you everyone for your time in the webinar.
Back to the host, perhaps.
Yeah, giving up the floors to Mr. Madhyesta Budi.
Thank you, Damar, our moderator for the panel. Is such an excellent moderation. I would like to give thanks to Damar for moderation. I'm sorry. So thank you for ladies and gentlemen for finally follow our webinar until the end. We almost at midnight, and now before we close, let's say Hamdallah together. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. And of course, it is not the end of the webinar. We still have our second OIC Youth Day celebration is at the 7th September. Of course, with another different theme. So please stay in touch with us, stay in touch in our Instagram, follow us or update news, and make sure to come again in our second OIC Youth Day celebration is 7th September 2020. Thank you everyone, and we hope we see you in the next webinar session, and see you soon. Stay safe and stay healthy. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you next webinar.
Waalaikumsalam.
Terima kasih semuanya. Saya izin lab ya.
Ya Pak, terima kasih.
Silakan.